Hello, welcome to the Co-Marketing Masters Show. I am your host, Darrell C. Spears, and today we're talking about a topic in marketing that's important to all of us, how to be a winner in marketing as we go through and come out of COVID-19. My guest today is Mr. Keith Singletary, the franchise owner of 2 Chick-fil-A's right here in Prince George's County. And when we come back, he's going to share some of his expertise on how we can get through this COVID-19 season and come out winners in marketing. We'll be right back.
Why should I care about the 2020 census?
Every 10 years, the census counts everyone living in the U.S.
Count everyone living with you.
Even kids!
Our numbers help shape funding and services.
For all these things.
That's a lot of stuff.
Your responses are safe and secure.
No matter who you are or where you're from.
We have reasons to care.
Shape your future. Start here at 2020census.gov.
Welcome back. Again, this is Darrell Spears of Co-Marketing Masters. And again, I am so excited about this show. One, because we have an expert here, and two, because we are all sort of debating how we get through COVID-19 during this time and how we really look at increasing our business through our marketing. So again, my guest today is Mr. Keith Singletary. He's a franchise owner of Chick-fil-A and has been in business for a minute now. So he's an expert on where we want to go. He's also a great community leader. He's really involved with the community here, and we're going to have him share a little bit about himself. So welcome, Keith. How you doing today?
I'm doing wonderful, Darrell. How are you doing this afternoon?
I'm doing great. Considering the season that we're in, we really are in an important place for our business. And one of the things I think about, let me ask you this question. How long have you been in business, Keith?
So I just celebrated 20 years at Chick-fil-A.
Wow, 20 years. So the reason I asked that question is because right now we're going through a season of unrest because of what's taking place in Minnesota. We're also going through a season of COVID-19. And when we look back, we've gone through a season where the financial crash, we've gone through a season with 9/11. And you think about our parents, they went through a season with the death of Martin Luther King, the Vietnam War, the death of John F. Kennedy. And the reason I bring that up is because we as owners and in our lives, in order to be successful, we have to go through these seasons in life and have to understand how to come out as winners. So I'm excited about this topic. But before we get started, I want to ask you to just share a little bit about yourself and what your thoughts are about where we are in this season of COVID-19.
Okay, certainly, Darrell. Thank you for the opportunity. I've been in the fast food industry now for 20 years. Before that, I was in finance. I used to work for a major hotel lodging company. Worked in the federal government. Background mostly in finance and accounting, and I did that for about 15, 20 years. And then I found myself here. I'm married. Live in Prince George's County with 2 wonderful adult children who have moved out, and that's exciting for us. And so my wife and I are experiencing empty nesterhood. And so, but I love Darrell being
That's awesome.
in the community because I grew up here in the community. I've been in the county now for over 50 years, and so there's no other place I'd rather be when it comes to serving our guests.
Absolutely, and I appreciate all the work you've done too in the community through serving others. You're on the board of Mentoring Men, a great organization to help young men, and that's important in the times that we are right now. So I appreciate that. Well, let's talk about some marketing. A lot of us as business owners, marketing is a big piece of that, and marketing has become huge now that we're in the COVID-19 season because we can't knock on doors, we can't have people in our office. So a lot of us have had to rethink how we do marketing. And a couple of questions I've already shared with you, but I want to start first in terms of your focus on your customers, in terms of Chick-fil-A. How are you rethinking how to best serve them in this environment?
Great question, Darrell. I would tell you that before I get to the customer, I'm going to take a step backward and really focus on my team.
Okay.
Because what we believe, if we can equip our team members, give them the skill sets, provide development opportunities for them, growth opportunities, when we can really equip them, they will be best suited to be able to serve our guests and serve our customers. And so that's where our focus has been, working internally and then also being able to go outward. In our industry, in the fast food industry, we have a serious commitment to hospitality, and we kind of approach that 3 different ways. Even before COVID and now, I would tell you these 3 tactics that we take are even more so important because we don't have the ability to be up front and be close with our customers because of COVID. And so our first thing, we call it first mile, we actually focus and work with our team members to really what we call core 4. And that's when each of our team members are skilled enough to have the eye contact, to be able to speak enthusiastically with our guests, and also be able to share that smile. And so we share, that's part of our first mile. Our second mile is to really have those remarkable conversations. If we can get to a point where we can memorize a customer's name, then there's a connection. And so if we're sharing that in a way that we can be very positive, we try to find opportunities where we can create some connections, whether it's through a favorite baseball team, basketball team, whether it's with anything that will provide some connection with the guests. And so those are the first 2 steps. Then that third step, we are not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. And so the third step for us is what we call HEARD. And it's an acronym that stands for, H stands for being able to hear and empathize what a guest issue may be. And this really speaks to guest recovery. E stands for empathize. The A stands for just being able to have the ability to hear and understand what their concerns may be. A, again, is apologizing. R stands for really being able to resolve the issue. There are going to be issues that come up. And so being able to resolve that is important. Then the D stands for the delight. If there is an issue or problem, it's not good enough for us just to resolve it. We need to be able to do something a little bit extra. And so, Darrell, in doing that hasn't changed. But what's changed in our model is that we no longer have people coming in the restaurant. We're serving everyone outside of our 4 walls.
Yeah.
So that means we really need to ramp up all of those tactics to be able to have a deeper connection. And so, just trying to focus on finding ways where we can connect with them, but through a contactless environment. And it could be challenging because one of the things we realize that everyone that we're serving are going through so many different challenges right now.
Yeah.
Mentioned it with COVID and also with some of the social unrest that we have in our country. And so it's been a challenge. So we have to even be more mindful of that. But for myself as an owner, I have to empower and equip my team because just like the guests are having challenges and issues, my team members are having some of the same ones. And so in many respects, we consider ourselves actors and actresses.
Okay. Because
we've got to be able to be on that platform where we're ready at any given moment to provide a smile, to provide a warm welcome or fond farewell.
Yeah, and that's, you mentioned it leads right into my next question, where you're actually functioning with people outside of the 4 walls of the church. So as a business owner, thinking about your marketing budget, thinking about your revenue side as well as your costs, how do you think forward in terms of addressing those concerns when you talk about your costs, in terms of how many employees you bring in now? Maybe you don't need as many since you don't have people inside. How do you structure to save on supplies and all that good stuff? So how does that, and we have a few minutes before we go to break, how does that really come into your thinking in terms of marketing?
Okay, so a couple of things we did marketing. We used to do a lot of direct mail, a lot of things that would drive people into the restaurant. whether through the drive-through or even coming inside, carry out or dining in. And so we've cut back on that tremendously because half of our business was carry out and dining in. And so we're not spending as much there. And when it comes to the two biggest big expenses for me in my industry, labor and food costs. So labor, we're careful not to cut too much. We don't want to cut a lot of positions because, quite honestly, I want to keep everybody gainfully employed.
Yeah.
But what we have done is shifted some of the external services and some of the things that vendors do. We've empowered our team members to be able to get additional hours and make more money to be able to do some of those things. And where we've cut in some of these other areas, supplies, we're not buying as much food now. We're actually using some of that money to really pour back into the team. We have a number of needs that we're meeting with our team, whether it's financial, whether it's emotional. And so we've been able to fill that gap for team members that are going through different challenges. So we've shifted a lot less in marketing and we're pouring it into the team. And I think that's wise because eventually things will open up.
Okay, yep.
And when they do open up, we believe we would have even cemented a more deeper relationship with our team. And so we'll be able to take on the additional harvest, so to speak, when we do open up completely.
That's excellent. And that's one of the things I want to share before we go to the break is just how important it is that you are addressing the needs of your employees and making sure that they are healthy mentally, physically, so they can present that to the customers. So really using that extra money that's coming in or that you're able to save to pour into them is just huge. I can't tell you how important that is. So we're going to take a little break, but when we come back, I sort of want you to think about what you just talked about in terms of individuals, how you're going to address your customers and all that good stuff. But also you mentioned when we open back up. And so I want to understand, are you thinking forward in terms of how that impacts your marketing and what are your thoughts in terms of opening back up and just the design of your inside of your store and all that good stuff. So thank you guys for sticking with us. We are talking to Mr. Keith Singletary, franchise owner of Chick-fil-A. As you see, he's already shared some great information with us in terms of how we can think in terms of marketing. Again, I am Darrell C. Spears. This is Co-Marketing Masters, and we will be right back in just a few minutes.
And is this with the doctor or is this with the nurse practitioner? Fantastic. Dad, lunch. Got some soup for you.
You are loved.
Oh, you. Look at those freckles.
This was very much.
You are valued. You are strong. You are resilient. You got this.
You're there for them. We're here for you. Find free care guides to support you and your loved one at aarp.org/caregiving.
It takes all of us to slow the spread of the coronavirus, so follow guidance from authorities where you live and stay home unless absolutely necessary. Use a delivery service for essential items like food and medicine. If you must make essential trips, stay 6 feet apart from other people. Wear a cloth face covering and wash your hands for at least 20 seconds as often as possible. Visit coronavirus.gov for the latest information.
Hello, this is Darrell Spears, and welcome back to the Co-Marketing Masters. And we are talking today about marketing in the midst of COVID-19. And our goal is to share information with you of how you can come out of this as winners in your business. There are things that we need to do and think about going forward. And it's tough to do. I don't want to make light of what we're going through right now. You know, I think all of us are going through this. And as we look through history and through my belief, we're going to come out the other end. It's important, I think, for us to do what we can do now to make sure we come out on the other end healthy. So again, I am so excited to have Mr. Keith Singletary with us of Chick-fil-A. And we're going to talk a little bit more with Keith. We left off talking a little bit about how he really makes sure that his employees are healthy so they can serve. And we started talking about what this looks like as we open up. We're in Prince George's County, Maryland, and I think we've done a soft opening. But Keith, now as you think forward, with the cup half full and knowing that we're going to come out on the other end, what does your vision look like as your store opens and as customers come in?
Darrell, that's a great question. We're working in planning for that, but to be honest, right now we're really following what the results are in the county. Prince George's County is leading the state of Maryland when it comes to COVID cases and so forth. And so we're looking for some of that to even settle down and looking for a downward turn. Because what we've found is that we've lost a number of our guests. A number of our team members are just very nervous about being in the environment. And so my wife teases me all the time. She says I come across more people than she does. But I would venture to say that I feel more safe in our restaurant than I do any place else, because we put forth the effort to train every one of our team members about this pandemic. And so they're even more empowered to do the right thing. But there are a couple of things we have to do before we even have a soft opening. We have to make certain we have the face guards and the plexiglass built so that we can have a separation between our guests and our team members. Because if I don't make my team members feel comfortable, we're not going to have anybody there to serve. And so as far as the time limit, we're really looking at what the results are in accounting. And then when that happens, we're going to follow suit. We've already laid out a plan, but the key is that when we implement that plan, based on the more recent results that I've seen, it could be a couple of months. And just because other restaurants are opening up, I think it's important to be responsible as an owner. Could I make more money? Yes, if we open the inside up. But it's more important for me to make certain my team is comfortable and that they're taken care of, because if I don't take care of them, we're not going to have anyone to serve.
Excellent. I think that's definitely good information. I appreciate that, Keith. And again, it's important because you're thinking forward, and that's a mindset that we have to have as business owners. So again, thinking in the marketing aspect, when you sit down with your leadership team, I want to understand what that mindset is, that strategy is, because I think that's where a lot of us as business owners are trying to think. And when we look at that, where are the best areas to spend money, and what are maybe some opportunities that you haven't used before to increase marketing or to get more business? How do you and your leadership team think in terms of marketing moving forward?
Yeah. And so excellent question. So when we look at where we can spend our dollars, certainly it's really geared around three areas. Number one, it's geared around our drive-through.
Yeah. Because
that's almost 70% of our business now. And then we have our third-party transactions, which are the DoorDash, the Grubhubs, Uber Eats, et cetera. And then there's another portion, which we generate revenue through our Chick-fil-A app. And that's through curbside, people wanting to come walk up to the restaurant and order. If you have your app, you can do that. And so those are the three avenues where we generate sales. Mm-hmm. And so each one of those are very labor driven.
Wow.
What's interesting now is that we're more productive now from a labor productivity standpoint than we were before, because everyone in the restaurant is actively taking something, providing value to a guest.
Wow.
Whether it's taking meals, whether it's taking orders, they are directly connecting with the guests and serving them. And so when we talk about marketing strategies, we're trying to look at ways where we can improve processes. Because, even with this pandemic, I think what happens is sometimes business owners get a little nervous, and the first thing they do is cut expenses.
Yeah.
And so I think what you got to do is you have to look at what got us to where we are now. What made us successful before? It was serving a great product, great people, and really smooth and excellent processes. And so we've really focused on those. And so somebody might question, well, those really aren't marketing initiatives. Well, I would argue that they are, because I can go out and send a lot of direct mail, do a lot of tangible things like they hand out what we call digital offer cards that will drive people back to the business. But when they come back, and if we can't provide this level of service that they've come accustomed to, we're going to run them away. And so we've been spending a lot more, taking our marketing dollars and really providing more training and selecting great talent, which is important. Even through this pandemic, as a business owner, this is an opportunity to really assess your team and your leadership to say, once we come out of this, can I actually say that if I had an opportunity to have this person work for me, still be here? And it may not be a removal. It could be just a situation where somebody may be on the bus, but in the wrong seat.
Wow.
And so we've been focusing a lot of attention with that. Everything we're doing now has been driven. We're getting ready to, my wife would kill me, we're letting something out the bag. We're getting ready to do some fun stuff, and perhaps like a drive-in.
Wow.
Where we can have folks come up. It will still be contactless, but we'll be able to provide some meals for them. Some free, some will be payment. But just trying to do some fun things to get the guests engaged, because people are stuck in the house.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're starting to come out more so now, but they want to come someplace where they can feel comfortable and where they can feel safe.
That's awesome. Now, do you all have a vehicle to hear from your customers right now in terms of what they are looking for, or how do you communicate with your customers right now?
And so we have what's called Spotlight. And so, for instance, if you were a Chick-fil-A app, if you had a Chick-fil-A app and you were a user, we could send you messages. We can push treats out to you. And there's a vehicle where you can kind of communicate with us that way. Also, when you come through Chick-fil-A, every 6 guests receive a survey. In that survey, you can actually share your experience or share any ideas. We have a web page, we have an Instagram page, we have a Facebook page. And so my marketing team actually takes care of those. And so we're in direct contact with guests quite often.
That's awesome. And that's good feedback for you to make those adjustments and tweaks.
Yeah, because we've got a couple of areas where we're not able to be out in the community. Our mobile truck, which is in DC quite regularly, and also in Maryland, we don't have that benefit. We were doing a number of things at a number of local events where people couldn't get the Chick-fil-A, but we can have our mobile truck, and we can actually serve our products off-site. And so those are things that we have not been doing because of the pandemic. And so as things begin to open back up, we're going to provide that opportunity as well.
That's awesome. Awesome. And one of the concerns I have, especially for us as business owners, you might not experience it, but I want you to share a little bit of the importance of communication. I mean, you have your leadership team, understanding how you're communicating with corporate office, and let us know, are you communicating with other restaurant owners to create opportunities for getting through this successfully? Because a lot of us are, individual solopreneurs, and we don't have a team per se, but what are some of the suggestions of how important it is to be able to collaborate and bounce things off other people?
So it's so important. I've got a couple of groups. So I'm on an operator team of about 12 restaurants that are in the Prince George's County area, some in Charles County, and the St. Mary's County. So we meet at least twice, 2 or 3 times a month especially during this pandemic, just being able to share ideas, any challenges that we may come across. And then too, we have a direct line to our corporate headquarters in Atlanta, Georgia. Every single day, there's something that comes out, a new opportunity for us to serve our guests, an additional procedure where we can create more safety around this pandemic. And so we do a lot of information sharing quite a bit. And also I'm in contact with a number of restaurant owners and business owners in the county and outside of the county. And so we share ideas, even though that you may have a different business, but your services could be completely different from mine. Mm-hmm. It still is a service. And your desire is to be able to provide a great product, as ours is the same way, just like it would be FedEx. They want to be able to provide a great service of getting the products and packages to the customers in a timely manner. And so, I think the increased collaboration is so important. I would tell you that I'm in more contact with other business owners now than what I have been in the past. And it really is wonderful because even during this pandemic, I've had a little bit more time to do planning, and I've had more time to connect with other owners.
Awesome.
And for me, what's been really great, I've been able to connect.
I'm going to hold off on you right there, Keith, because you shared some great information. But as we get ready to close, I want you to take like 30, 45 seconds on one or two things that really business owners need to think about now if they want to come out successful in marketing.
Okay. I would say, number one, don't panic.
Mm-hmm.
Don't panic. Number two, I think it's important to realize that eventually we'll come out of this.
Mm-hmm.
But number three, plan. You've got to sit down and plan, look at what resources you have available. You got to look at a best case scenario and a worst case scenario.
Okay.
Because that's really, really important, because your desire should always be to extend. You want to be in business beyond this pandemic.
That's right. And
so you need to do what you can to do as much planning and be open and honest with your resources and what you have coming down the pike, because that's going to help you stay open or stay alive beyond this pandemic.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Keith. This has been an excellent discussion. Again, this is Darrell Spears with Co-Marketing Masters. Thank you guys for listening in. I definitely want to thank my Co-Marketing Masters co-host, Kathleen Driver, also our Co-Marketing Masters team, Antoinette Blake and Kathy Smith, and our man behind the scene, the brains, our producer, David Barnes. So again, this is Darrell Spears with Co-Marketing Masters. Until next time, you want to keep your marketing moving. Thank you, Keith, for all you've done. I appreciate you, man. You're always there when I call on you. Again, we will talk to you soon on the Co-Marketing Masters. You have a great evening.
With over 1 million members, we know what people can do when they come together. We are Rotary. We are people of action. Find out more
at rotary.org/action.